evening. Yeah, it's evening. It's not morning. I've got my son has an early soccer game tomorrow, and I have single dad duty, so I will be getting the Saturday 6 out on late on Friday night, halftime of the Cal Oregon game. So I'm excited. This is going to be an interesting week, and we've got some really good games to cover here. For the Saturday 6 this week. But I think one of the things that I want to call out and point out, and you can see it in the title here, is who's going to bounce back? Who's been sort of scuffling along in the early season that we're going to see make the necessary changes to be a better team down the stretch? And a team that I think has already done this, is the Ohio State Buckeyes, right? Like they made the change at defensive play caller. The offense is really clicking. The Buckeyes are back in the top 10 in beta rank, and look like a team that's really dangerous again. They certainly didn't when they were giving up all those yards and points to Tulsa. But you have teams like Oklahoma, with the potential for a QB change like we saw last week that might open up that offense a little bit, that has been really a little bit anemic, up through the season. And the defense certainly still, I think, hasn't lived up to expectations, at any point this season, including last week. So, I mean, it's not that Oklahoma's out of the woods yet, but another week or two of, solid performance in the data, and Oklahoma should really be, right back where we, maybe at least expected them on the offensive side of the ball. Oregon, a team that is currently scuffling yet again against Cal, only up 3 heading into halftime. They're another team that they certainly took the loss with Moorhead out last week against Stanford, but they weren't playing great before that either. They let Arizona move the ball quite a bit against them, and it was really only the five interceptions by Jordan McLeod, I think, that really sealed the game for the Ducks. And some big plays on the offensive side against a pretty bad Arizona defense. But there's something like Iowa State's an example. They played really well in the data so far. Limited data. We only have 4 games in for them at this point. Only 4 games against FBS competition. But, a team that's really been hampered by turnovers thus far. But, outside of the turnovers, that have cost them the 2 games that they've lost, have played really well. So I still think I'm excited to see there's still a lot of teams that I think can really show their quality and sort of bounce back even from where we have them right now. So let's dive in. I'm excited to jump in and cover out this week. So the first game we're covering is Iowa State at Kansas State. Matt Campbell and Chris Kleeman, your head coaches here. Iowa State comes in right now, and they're number 6 in beta rank. I mean, they're, like I said, like they've played, the data underneath, the losses, the wins and losses. And I do try to tell people, it is true that what you see in, like advanced stats are a little bit like your dad, right? Like they care. It's not about whether you win or lose. It's how you played the game that matters as far as these grade, the kind of grading we're doing here goes. That said, I mean, it's unfortunate to have played really as well as they have, and to have two losses. But offensively, this is a good matchup for them. They should be able to put up some points, and when they've played the bad competition that they've played against, defensively, they really have put the pedal down and put up some points. So it's going to be interesting to see this Kansas State team a little bit more middling. Baylor doesn't have a great defense this season, but like Iowa has a great defense this season, but Kansas State's going to fall a little somewhere towards the middle. Tom Manning's your offensive coordinator for the Cyclones here. Joe Klanderman's your defensive coordinator for K-State. The Cyclones, what they've been really, they're struggling a little bit in their drive efficiency, turning drives into points. They need to be able to string together longer drives to be able to put up points. 51 there. But other than that, the rest of their metrics are really solid. 3 in explosive drives. They're able to put up a lot of long plays. Everything you see here is controlling for opponent and field position. Play efficiency is quite good. Their yards per play, controlling for opponent and field position is good. Negative drives, even though they have turned the ball over, they're still sitting at number 15 there. A little bit better against or a little bit better throwing the ball than they are running the ball. This Kansas State defense, they're not quite where we expect. I mean, they were Kansas State 2 years ago was really good on the defensive side of the ball. That DC is now he's now the defensive coordinator at Michigan State. This is not a vintage Kansas State defense or that North Dakota State defense, which has worked really well at Wyoming. It's currently working really well at up at Wazoo with Dickert, and it's working at Michigan State. It's not working here right now for some reason. So they're at number 65 overall. They're really struggling giving up some big plays. That's the really one of the really big watch outs here. They're a little bit better at drive efficiency, but something to keep an eye on in this game is Iowa State's ability to put up big plays. Kansas State's also not forcing enough in negative drives, not forcing enough negative outcomes on the offense, turnovers, 3 and outs, moving them backward. They really need to improve on that. And this Iowa State game is going to be a real test because they've really struggled against the pass, number 96 against the pass. Iowa State should be able to throw the ball in this game. But if Iowa State's going to continue to live up here in the high part of the rankings in advanced stats, they really need to, they need to show their quality in this game here against Kansas State. On the other side of the ball, this Kansas State offense is actually kind of working. I mean, they haven't had a great offense, with the current coaching staff. This is really the best offense they've had, but at 27 overall, and the rest of the metrics really support this ranking, right? I mean, number 34 overall in drive efficiency, 28 in explosive drives. I mean, they're kind of in the middle of the road in the Power 5 on all their metrics, and they're definitely a better running team than they are a throwing team. You'd certainly expect that, right? This North Dakota State offense that they run, in particular with the quarterback they've got, Skylar Thompson, they're gonna run the ball better, but they get an Iowa State defense that's really good. I mean, they're currently number 10 overall in beta rank. They've struggled with drive efficiency, but their per play metrics are fantastic. I expect this drive efficiency to clean up a little bit. They've been unlucky in the number of points they've given up, relative to the, yardage that they've given up, relative to the big plays, the number of big plays they've given up. They've just been kind of unlucky in the points they've given up. But they're really good at, controlling big plays, controlling, yards per play, forcing negative outcomes on the offense. I'm really interested to see this matchup here on this side of the ball too. You need to see our Iowa State come in and be able to contain this team. Beta rank currently has an 81% Iowa State, win probability, almost 10 points. I mean, just right at it, 9.99 in the naive spread that we derived for this game. I'm excited for this game. Maybe I may be the only one. I am really excited to see this game. Mostly not for this side of the ball. You've got Paul Christ and Jeff Monken are your head coaches here. This side of the ball will be all right. I mean, the Army's this is a decent for the service academy. Sitting at 57 is a pretty decent number defensively. Like you've definitely seen some service academy years where, Navy or Air Force or Army, they'll have a really good year, but it'll mostly be driven by their offense, right? And sometimes their defenses will lag way, way behind these numbers. For them, sitting at 57, which would be like a pretty bad Power 5 defense, that's a pretty good number for a service academy, to be frank. But they get a Wisconsin offense that's just absolutely just bad. I mean, it's not as if Paul Chryst normally puts up really bad offenses, but they're really struggling. They're decent in their drive efficiency numbers, turning drives into points, being able to put together long drives. What they're really struggling with is explosive drives. They're not a very explosive team right now. 47 in play efficiency. That's not great. I mean, 98 in negative drives, too many turnovers, too many 3-and-outs, too many dumb things. And you expect Wisconsin to be able to run the football, and they're going to have a run-pass split. But this kind of run-pass split is getting to the point like what you might expect for Army, right? Like an option team. Wisconsin's just really ineffective throwing the ball, and it really begs the question as you continue to see Mertz really struggle here. Is he that much better than any of your other options? Because it feels like they really should be giving somebody else some snaps. Anywho, Chryst is also your play caller on the offensive side of the ball. Nate Woody is your defensive play caller for Army. They're decent. They're decent at drive efficiency and explosive drives. They struggle a little bit at play efficiency, and you might expect that with them. I mean, they're going to give up some yards per play. They're going to try to find ways to get off the field and not give up big plays. They do have a huge run pass split. They're a lot better against the run than they are against the pass. Wow, lucky for them, Wisconsin's not good throwing the football. So we'll see. This is in some ways on this side of the ball a little bit of an interesting matchup too, given what Army's strength is and Wisconsin's strength is. But the other side of this, I'm excited to see this Wisconsin defense, which is fantastic. Jim Leonard's your defensive coordinator here, go up against, Brent Davis and this Army offense, which is tough to prepare for. Absolutely. This Army offense is just so freaking efficient. Number 4 in drive efficiency, just, turning drives into points, not having to rely on big plays to do it or terrific yards per play. Army can literally get you 3 1/3 yards per play. They will happily do that. And march down the field on you. Not a very explosive offense currently. Number 94 in explosive drives, 32 in play efficiency. That's a decent number for where you might expect this offense to be. 80 in negative drives, though. I mean, that's something to keep an eye out. They have had some 3-and-outs and turnovers. Of course, huge run pass split. I mean, Army's they're going to run the football really well, but you get a defense that's just so freaking good under Leonard. I'm excited to see him have to scheme against this Army offense, which is so efficient. Wisconsin comes in at number 2 overall, number 11 in drive efficiency. That's where we're going to get to see some real strength on strength. They're quite good at containing explosive drives. And I mean, this is, as you're going through, like, this is a really, I mean, Iowa's getting all of the headlines and Georgia too, but Wisconsin underneath it with, no kind of offense to support them and none of Iowa's turnover luck. Wisconsin's defense is really, really good this season as well. So this should be a really fun matchup. I'm excited to see whether Wisconsin's able to. I mean, teams often struggle to, be ready for these kind of triple option attacks. Be ready to take on these teams. Is Wisconsin going to be ready to do it? This game could be a little closer than maybe people expect. I think as a result, Wisconsin's got a 77% win probability in beta ranking at home. 8.34 is the spread that we would expect for this game. So yeah, this should be a really fun one. I mean, I would not be surprised to see a close game here. Neither of these teams are going to be in a really huge hurry to score. You could see, a lot of not many plays per minute in this game. This is a good one. We get Arizona State at Utah. Herm Edwards is your head coach of the Sun Devils. Kyle Whittingham is your coach of the Utes. Utah is coming off absolutely spanking a putrid USC team with a defense that looks like it's quit. And Arizona State comes off like putting the screws to Stanford, and really winning the game in the first half, and then being able to really shut down Stanford. Got a ton of pressure on Tanner McKee in that game, and force some turnovers. Anyway, this what's interesting about this Sun Devil team is the offense has been actually pretty good. They're coming in. They're at 99 in drive efficiency. They do need to be better at turning drives into points, not stalling out. But they're a very explosive offense currently, number 2 overall in explosive drives. Their play efficiency number is really good at number 15, number 8 in negative drives. They're not really allowing the defenses to really get in and force them into bad, 3 and outs, turnovers, that kind of thing. But they're a really run heavy offense. Daniels has been able to throw the ball. In this season, and his accuracy downfield, which has been a bit of a watch out for him in the past, it's a little better this year, I will say. And he's been able to hit big plays when he's needed to really keep the defense from loading up the box too much against the Sun Devils. There's also the added dimension here is, he's running the football, in ways that he didn't do last season, even under, Zach Hill, their offensive coordinator that came over from Boise. They didn't run him much last year. They've really opened up the playbook with him, and he does, tuck it and run and on some designed runs as well. It's added a significant dimension into this offense. Utah's defense comes in number 32 overall in beta rank. They're decent. They've got some decent numbers here. 29 in drive efficiency. Middle of the road Power 5 defense here right now. There is with Utah. I mean, they've been so well coached and so good on defense for so long. And Morgan Scalley's a good defensive coordinator. I think there is potential room for improvement for them down the backside of this season, if they can just continue to play better than we've seen up to maybe not up to this point, but in the early season the numbers weren't great for them. They're really starting to round out into better form. Their drive efficiency is good. Explosive drives again is pretty good. It kind of, like I said, kind of in the middle of the road Power 5. Their play efficiency is not great. What they're really struggling, they're not really forcing enough 3 and outs, not enough turnovers relative to the level of competition that they faced. They're better against the pass than they are against the run. That's something to watch out for. Utah's going to have to really be on it in this game with their run fit, really slow down, this Arizona State rushing attack, because that's how Arizona State's going to plan to beat you, right? Is they're going to run the ball at you. You got to stop them. Flip it around to the other side of the football. Utah's offensive coordinator is Andy Ludwig. Antonio Pierce is your defensive coordinator for the Sun Devils. Co-defensive coordinator is Marvin Lewis. This Utah defense or offense, they're kind of like shading towards a wrong side of middle of the road Power 5 offense, right? Number 42 overall. They're not great at drive efficiency. They really struggle to put together drives to put up points. Middle of the road Power 5 and putting up explosive drives, in that, top 30 range. And their play efficiency is good, but where they've been their best is they haven't turned the ball over a lot, and they haven't had a lot of 3 and outs. They haven't had a lot of negative things happen to them. They're a little better running the ball than they are throwing the ball. Where they've struggled is their offensive line has really struggled this season. This is going to be a bit of a test. Arizona State, even without Jermaine Lowell, has a pretty good defense. They're at 21 overall in beta rank. They're 27 in drive efficiency and 25 in explosive drives. Their play efficiency is pretty good. They're controlling the opponent's yards per play really well. Not great at negative drives. They're not really forcing enough 3 and outs or turnovers or anything, and no big run pass split. So I expect, this is going to be a really solid test. I think a lot of Ute fans, people tend to do this in the season, and a lot of people in the media do this too. They'll tend to think that they'll tend to say a team is really, they got it together and, in their last game, or, they really just, they need to find consistency, and it's not consistency. It's the level of competition changes week over week quite a bit sometimes in college football. USC's defense has just been sneaky terrible. I'm interested to see what this Utah unit looks like against what does look like a pretty good Arizona State defense. Beta rank has it. ASU is at that 63% win probability and a little over 3 points, 3.33 on the road for the Sun Devils. Keep an eye on Daniels running the football. That might be the difference in this game. This is a humdinger. I can't believe this is buried on the SEC network. So, Lane Kiffin and Josh Heupel are going to have a shootout. Ole Miss is at Tennessee for this game. Josh Heupel, just great play caller. I mean, he's totally resurrected his reputation as a play caller at UCF. It's absolutely working. He's come in despite the fact that Tennessee basically had, I don't know, like 30 players or whatever transfer. I mean, it felt like 30. It may not be. That might be a wild exaggeration. Just a whole bunch of players transfer out. Tennessee comes in at number 9, on offense. In beta rank, they're at number 8 in drive efficiency. They're able to put together long drives to put up points. They're very explosive. Their play efficiencies are right. A few too many 3 and outs and turnovers and negative things happening to them again and controlling for opponent field position. They're really good. And this is interesting because you wouldn't have expected this, right? Like Heupel's background's the air raid. They really slung it around more at UCF, but they really run the football really well, this Tennessee team. Number 4 in effective rush, 74 in effective pass. This offense is working with, and I think it's a credit to Heupel that, he's sort of gone against the grain and taken what he's got and made it really work. He gets DJ Durkin, who has just no business having a Power 5 defensive coordinator job. The guy sucked at Michigan. This is even aside from, all the off the field stuff. But again, another bad defense under him. This Ole Miss defense currently grades out at number 93 in beta rank. They're at 94 in drive efficiency. They give up a lot of long drives for points. They're at number 77 in explosive drives. They give up a lot of big plays. 27 in play efficiency. That's their best number. It's also the least important of the core 4 beta rank metrics. Negative drives 102. Just they're not forcing enough 3 and outs. Not enough turnovers. No run pass split, but neither of the numbers are good at number 87 overall. So, I mean, Tennessee should be able to get points. Just don't turn the ball over in this game. But you flip it around and you've got another, should be another, a matchup of a not very, I mean, Tennessee's defense is a lot better than Ole Miss's, but they're still bad Power 5 defense. So Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby's your play caller here for Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, of course, has a hand in the offense. Number 5 overall for them. Matt Corral's having just a terrific year. 7 in drive efficiency, 4 in explosive drives. I mean, this team, this offense is a lot of fun. I mean, regardless of their performance against Bama, this offense really is, quite a bit of fun to watch. Number 3 in negative drives overall. A little bit of running the ball than they are throwing the ball. You wouldn't think, I mean, Carl's getting all the headlines, but Levy's background comes over from Baylor. They do have a pretty strong run scheme underneath this, and then Carl's able to hit things over the top. It is Tim Banks is your defensive coordinator for Tennessee here. It's his first year. You do expect him to get this turned around at some point, and if he can, combined with Heupel, that Heupel hire maybe could work. I mean, if they get the defense going and he can keep the offense, where they're at, and you certainly expect with recruiting to eventually be able to replace all those players they lost. Tennessee could be interesting in a year or two. Anyway, where they're currently at, though, is they really struggle at drive efficiency. I mean, teams can put together long drives to put up points. They need to find ways to get off the field. 58 in explosive drives, that's a big watch out. They're giving up too many big plays for points. Play efficiency, number 23 overall. That's a decent number. Again, it is the least important of the core 4 beta rank metrics, right? Like the other ones, count for more. Negative drives, that's a decent one, right? Like they are forcing some 3 and outs, forcing some turnovers. They do have a decent run pass split, and it's a bit of a watch out here because Ole Miss sneakily under, because Corral's getting all the headlines. They do run the ball pretty well. This effective rush number is not great at number 68. They are a little bit better against the pass. This is going to be a really, really interesting game here. Tennessee, we've got them with a 58% win probability, 2.62, which is basically the home field advantage. This should be a really fun game. The over/under is pretty high, I think, in this game. I think it's almost 80 points. So this should be a really fun one. Tune in, have this on at least one screen to keep an eye on. Now, Virginia Tech's not great, but I do want to highlight, and it's not a great year for the ACC in a lot of ways, but Pitt, under the radar, is kind of really fun. So, Pat Narduzzi's your head coach here, Justin Fuente for Virginia Tech. Pitt's offense right now under Mark Whipple, right? I mean, I feel like a blast for the past with Mark Whipple. They're pretty good, and Kenny Pickett's having the heck of a year. They're number 15 overall in beta rank. They're great at drive efficiency, number 17 overall, putting together drives to put up points. 25 in explosive drives. That's something that if they want to continue to sort of hang out in the top 20, maybe break into the top 10 over the season, they're going to have to become more explosive. Their play efficiency is pretty good. Too many 3 and outs, too many turnovers with their negative drives number at 31. That's a number, again, that they're probably going to want to improve over the year. They have a huge run pass split. Pickett just slings it around. They're at number 5 in effective pass, number 85 in effective rush. This Virginia Tech defense isn't great. They're on the wrong side of the Mendoza line for like a middle of the road Power 5 defense, just kind of slightly in the bad range at 41. They do struggle at drive efficiency. Like, you are able to put up drives to put up points against this Virginia Tech defense. They're not great at containing explosive drives or at play efficiency. Where they're pretty good is 3 and outs and negative drives. They are able to find ways to force bad outcomes, like catastrophic type outcomes on the opposing offense. But they're a lot better against the pass than they are against the run. That's going to be interesting because Pitt, they are strong enough throwing the football around that it might not matter, in this game. But if you're a Virginia Tech fan and you want to feel good, you can take some solace that maybe, the way to slow them down here is the fact that you have a defense that's, far better against the pass than they are against the run. And you can hope to turn them over a couple times to hang in the game. Other side of the football, this Pitt defense is decent too. It's not quite in the range where I think that, some of the usual Pat Narduzzi and Randy Bates defenses have been, but it's not awful, right? They are a true middle of the road Power 5 defense. Brad Cornelson, I think I got that right. My handwriting's awful. It's late. Is your offensive coordinator for Virginia Tech. They're a pretty bad Power 5 offense, number 74 overall. Their drive efficiency is not great comparatively compared to like 110 in explosive drives. That's a fine number, but it's not a great number. They're at the 110 in explosive drives really hurts too. They're just not putting enough big plays, controlling for opponent field position. Their play efficiency is not great either. Negative drives, they've managed to avoid 3 and outs, turnovers, going backwards, like that kind of thing. They're a little bit better running the football than they are throwing the football. It feels like Braxton Burmeister's been in college football for a long time, but I feel like it's going to be true of everyone for at least a year or two more. The defense for Pitt's pretty good. Where they excel is at drive efficiency. They do find ways to get off the field, not give up points. They're at 60 in explosive drives. That's their big watch out. Just they've given up too many big plays, controlling for opponent field position. And it's not as Virginia Tech has been really explosive. So, but if you're a Hokie fan, you're kind of hoping that's where you sneak in some big plays. Here to keep things going. Their play efficiency is all right, middle of the road there, number 31 overall, and negative drives is kind of shading a little bit in the wrong direction. Pitt needs to find ways to both contain big plays and then force more 3 and outs, force more turnovers. They have this is interesting here is what you can see is like it's pretty clear where the problems are, right? Like they're a lot better against the run than they are against the pass right now. They need to clean that up. The ACC isn't overwhelming, it's not daunting, if you will, right now. Wake Forest looks pretty good. But beyond that, there's not a lot of really good teams running around out there in the ACC. So Pitt, I mean, if they can clean up this, effective pass, number in particular, I think they have a shot to potentially, win out in the ACC. And that would be, in a year where the Clemson's down, it feels like if you're a non-Clemson program in the ACC, like Clemson's down, like make your hay, man, like make your move. Anyway, Pitt's 79% win probability in this game, 8.99 on the spread from Beta Rank. This should be a fun one. For, it might get out of hand. I mean, if Pitt really is able to sling the football around and Virginia Tech's not able to stop them, this could get out of control, though. This is really fun. I'm excited. This is a really fun game. I have this Air Force team has just been, for the last couple seasons, Air Force has graded out either right at around or a little better than Boise State. And they've just been so unlucky in the game, specifically the head-to-head matchups against the Broncos. And so they're at Boise State in this game. Troy Calhoun is your head coach for Air Force. Andy Avalos is your head coach for Boise State. Boise's coming off the big win where they beat BYU. Kind of needed some turnover help to do it, but they did. They beat BYU. But Air Force comes in again. They're at number 25 overall in Beta Rank. Boise's at 34. Again, like Boise's better in some ways than they've been, some of these prior seasons, but they're also, like Air Force, like it's like one of these years you kind of feel like they got to break through, right? I say that, maybe they won't. Like streaks are how you know the data's real. But Air Force's offense comes in number 19 overall, great at drive efficiency. Again, this it feels like that conversation we just had about the Army offense, right? Like just highly efficient. They turn drives into points. Not a terribly explosive offense at 75 overall right now. Their play efficiency is pretty good at 34. Negative drives, they don't allow a lot of 3 and outs or turnovers to happen to them comparatively. Unsurprisingly, a massive run pass split, number 1 in effective rush, number 128 in effective pass. They get a pretty decent Boise defense. I'm sorry, and Mike Thiessen is your offensive coordinator for the Falcons. Your Boise defense is Spencer Danielson. The defense for Boise's pretty good, 25 overall, 20 in drive efficiency. So this is a decent matchup for them, right? Like where they've been good is, help, they find ways to get off the field, not give up long drives to teams. That's play calling and execution, right? Timely play calling, good execution. You find ways to get off the field, even if you have an effective opponent in front of you. But they've struggled a little bit. They have given up some big plays. Their play efficiency is not great, but they make up for it really with negative drives, forcing 3 and outs, forcing turnovers. This is a good defense. It's just I'm going to be interested to this is a good matchup because they don't have a really big run pass split. They should be decent against the run, but not so good against the run that they should be able to shut Air Force down, right? Like they're going to have to make adjustments. Again, it's one of those ones like, do you really have enough time to really adjust and plan for the triple option? Flip it around. This Boise offense is all right. They're at 46 overall. Tim Plow's your offensive coordinator here. They're at 68 in drive efficiency. They certainly have some cleanup to do there. Like they need to, I think for Boise, I mean, it's not as if that they're so far ahead. I think, there's a couple of sort of challengers sort of lurking around in the Mountain West with San Diego State as well with that excellent defense. Boise's gonna need this offense to maybe be a little bit better in case they have to win a game where they're on the wrong side of the turnover battle. But 68 drive efficiency, that's something certainly to clean up. 61 in explosive drives, that's not great. So those two numbers are a little bit of a watch out. They're not really great at putting together long drives to put up points. They're not really great creating explosive drives. Their play efficiency is all right. What they're good is they've mostly avoided, teams, they've mostly avoided teams, forcing them into 3 and outs, forcing turnovers. They do a good job on that, like limiting, like not putting themselves in really big holes. Huge run pass split. This is a really pass first team with Bachmeier back there. That makes them kind of fun and interesting to watch. This Air Force defense we just talked about this for Army, and Air Force is even better. Number 30 overall. This is a really good defense for a service academy. John Rudzinski's your defensive coordinator for the Falcons. number 30 overall in beta rank. They're pretty good in drive efficiency at 43 overall. Their explosive drives number is not that great. Like, they have given up some big plays for points. Where they really make their hay is they force 3 and outs, they force turnovers. This is going to be a little bit of a matchup of strength on strength, right? Like, Boise doesn't put themselves in holes. Air Force excels at putting people in holes. They're better against the run than they are against the pass, so that will be interesting. And often service academies do struggle to recruit players that can really defend the pass, at the FBS level. Air Force's number, by the standards that we often see at the service academy, is actually not bad against the pass at all. So it should be a fun matchup. Beta rank has it as a true toss-up, 50% win probability for either team. So tune in, check this game out. It's going to be on late, on the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast time, but yeah, I'll certainly be up watching this one. This should be a great game. And that does it. That is this week. That is the week of college football in advanced stats, at least for these 6 games. I said, like, the week sounds like a little bit grandiose. Like, it's not the week in college football. It was 6 games in advanced stats. Anyway, it's late. I'm also like, I'm kind of peeking over out of like the corner of my eye on what's going on in the Cal Oregon game. Anywho, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Rob Bauer, and I am the econometrician behind Beta Rank. You can find all the stats you just saw and a whole lot more at sharpcollegefootball.com. You can find me at Beta Rank FB or at Sharp College Football. We have a Pac-12 podcast at 12 Pac Radio. And you can find all the back episodes of that at sharpcollegefootball.com/12 Pac Radio. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be up early, which will be nice. Yeah, I don't have to get up early and do it. And potentially have my son wake up and come tell me while I'm down here yakety about college football that he's hungry and wants waffles. Anywho, have a great Saturday out there, and I'm excited. We'll be back and do this again next week too.